Good evening and welcome. My name is Vanessa and I will be narrating our family ancestral lineage from past to present. So get comfortable, grab your drinks and popcorn and let's dive into tonight's experience. Estate Homes 18, the Mucka Yard, where all the fetters, partiers, dancers and serenaders lived. It all started in the Mucka Yard with a lady by the name of Rosetta McCoo Fleming. She had 18 children. Some of her 18 children was dispersed throughout St. Martin, St. Kitts, and Bonaire. Some remain in Anguilla. Those children were Marita Tole. Tole had 3 children in total. One surviving daughter is Cynthia. Cynthia had 9 children. This is the bloodline of Tole. Tole died at age 89 by a car accident. She was run over. Maria Lake, Nana. Nana had 1 daughter, Yuli. Yuli have 1 surviving daughter, Sydney. Sydney has 4 boys. Yuli's sons were Alfred. Alfred had 2 children, Whittington. Whittington had 2 sons, Dennis and Winston. Winston had 2 daughters, and Yuli's last child was Jason. Yuli died at age 82 from pneumonia. Everyone called her Queen. Her beauty had a gorgeous shine. Queen relocated to South Hill from Northside. There she married her husband, Chrissy Connor, and bare 2 children. The first, Wilmot Connor. Wilmot Connor had 13 children in total. Rosalia Tita. Tita had 4 children in total. David had 7 daughters. Chester had 1 daughter. Celia had 1 daughter. And Ruby has 2 sons. The year was 1982. Our star was born, Mary Diana Lake. Her beauty was incredible, captivating to be exact. Her skin tone was almond butter, her hair was curly and cascaded down her back. Mary had a rare ability to make everyone around her feel special. She was smart, short in stature, she was a housewife, she was the mother of Herbert Reed, Paper Herbert, Olivia Reed, Tentanfina, and Rebecca Reed, Tentan Becca. Nathaniel Reed, aka Budze. Budze was the son of Rebecca Reed, aka Becca Tala. Budze was very tall and thin in stature. He was a hard-working black man. His place of birth was South Valley. He was a laborer, a captain of his own boat. He was the father of Paper Herbert, Tentanfina, Tentan Becca, Tentan Mary, and Uncle Maxine. 1905, Nathaniel Reed and Mary Diana Lake joined hands in marriage to symbolize the unity and strength and love for each other. They lived in Northside with their 3 children in a tight-knitted family for some years. Mary Diana Reed became pregnant with her 4th child shortly after being married. Budze being the breadwinner of the family, it was not too long before disloyalty and conflict arrived in the marriage. 1 month after the child was born, her baby girl died from a diarrhea. The baby was named Mary Diana Reed. 1 month after the baby died, Mary Diana died from an infection caused by a physical altercation by her husband Budze. She was shoved down. She died in the house with her 3 children being present. Being so young, they didn't understand the outcome. Tentan Becca recalled climbing onto her mother, asking her to get up, but she never answered. Mary Diana Reid died at age 26 in 1912. At a tender age, the children were saddened by the passing of their mother. Budze fell in love immediately after the passing of his wife. Budze's new lover was cruel and unkind to his 3 children. She allowed them to pass through many hungry days. The children suffered for food, love, and their mother. The 3 children walked the streets of the valley looking for food. They would stand outside different homes waiting for bones to be thrown outside. They would suck the bone dry and eat the potato skins just to ease the pain of hunger. By the time they got back home from looking for food, Budze's new lover would have done cook, eat, and wash her pot and turn them down. Hence the reason why our family believe in cooking and feeding others strongly. After hearing about the abuse on the streets, Budze's mother reached out to him and asked him to bring his 3 children to South Valley. And he did. After this, Budze transitioned to a new lover. Budze's 3 children was raised by his mother, Becca Tala, in South Valley. Tentan Becca gave an account of an event in her father's life. She recalled her father boat business, where he transport people by boat from Anguilla to Dog Island. In those days, people walked and lived in Dog Island. One day, the mysterious happened. The boat started to sink coming from Dog Island. Persons on the bay reported Budze bravely swimming back and forth to save the life of his passengers, bringing them to safety. On the last leg of being in survival mode, the passengers bear witness of Budze going back to the boat for one more person. They waited, but he never came back. Nathaniel Reid, aka Budze, died from drowning. Herbert Reed, Paper Herbert, was an extremely tall, thin black man. He was a fisherman and a laborer by profession. He owned his own rowboat. This was something he loved doing. He was a pleasure to be around, a comedian. His jokes would have everyone rolling. Herbert mastered many jobs. The folks in St. Bart's and Guadeloupe and Martinique would purchase livestock from Anguilla. Herbert being the champion of this trade, he would be the main man to transport the animals from the boat. This was big business back in those days. Paper Herbert, being the eldest of Mary Diana Reid children, was the first to procreate. His first child was Melvina Reid. Melvina had 8 children in total.
His sister. He come there, my sister Becca. Somebody trouble he up the road. And if he had his knife, what he would not do with them? When he push his hand in his pocket and he pull out the knife and I said, Lord, my poor brother.
Paper Herbert moved from South Valley to Ray Hill. There he married his wife, who went by the street name of Butter. This marriage produced no children. After this phase of Paper Herbert's life, he turned a new leaf. He migrated to Aruba for work as a fisherman. There he lived for quite some time. he supported his family back in Anguilla. He returned to Anguilla some years later. There, his second child was born, Gloria Reid. Gloria has 6 children in total.
Of all Tentan's siblings, she loved all, but she always talked about her brother Herbert Reed. He would come from Reid and visit her once a week. And when he visited her, he was a tall man. I could recall he could not walk straight into the door. He had to stoop. And he would say to himself, or he will bawl out, Asilla, Asilla, I love you, which is Olivia. That was her name, Ursula Olivia. But he had this little thing about they're joking around. Ursula, I love you. And when he entered the house, they would hug and do whatever it takes to make one another happy. She loved that brother and she always speak about him. And I can remember those fond moments of them.
Olivia Reed, Tentanfina, was the second child of Mary Diana Reed. She was born in Northside and grew up in South Valley. After she became an adult, Tentanfina migrated to South Hill as a result of work. In those days, when you work, you live. Tentanfina was a housemaid for Camille for many years. Tentanfina was a baker or cook. Tentan and her sister Tentan Eva team up together over the years. Those two create magical dishes on 3 fire rocks, and the food was cooked in a kerosene pan. Tentan was unstoppable and dynamic when it came to cooking and baking. Tentanfina was well known throughout South Hill. Her pot was everybody's pot. Tentan had an extended family. She helped rear many children in the community. One of her blended families, Tentan played a major role in their lives, was the Commandantes. Tentan was a loving and cheerful giver, a God-fearing woman. Tentanfina lived a beautiful life. She traveled to England on one occasion.
Tentan, she was a lady, very precise, to the point, never lost a battle. She would sit back, give you orders, sit back, give you enough time to have whatever she would tell you to do, done. And if you would not complete your task, you get no food. If you're outside and you playing around, you have to make sure you wash your foot. That's the way she would say it. You wash your foot. If you don't wash your foot, you're getting no food. You would not even sleep in here tonight. My grandmother was a funny lady. Her favorite dish was a little pan. After being a person that cooked for weddings and any function whatsoever, she would have this little peas and sprinkle a little flour, and her seasoning was onion and onion alone. That seasoning would go into the green peas in her little pan, which was a butter dish, a butter pan. That was her pot. And she called it the little pan. Not forgetting no meat whatsoever. No meats. You had to take her piece from that pot and make sure no meat with that piece. And she sprinkled some flour into that. And that was her meal. No grease, no meats. She was more on the vegetarian side. She do good bread. She baked good bread. And one day I could recall of her baking the bread, and she was kneading the flour, and her veins in her leg, one burst, and she had to go to the doctor. And for sure, to carry on this flour, I, Silma, myself, could not carry it on. I remember when my grandmother, we used to go parties or anything like that. And we don't stay for long. When she's ready to come home, she'll come to the crowd and to drag you out. She'll say, broke out, and go into the pipe. She will sit down there with her stick and wait until everybody pan is full, and they go home together and come back. Oh my God, we had hell with our grandmother, but thank God she raised us very well. Yes. And I always thank God for her, and we call her name every day. All right. Tentan cooked really good food. She used to do weddings. She cooked at every party that was possible. And that special dish of hers at a wedding was that stew goat. And the legacy has been passed on to many of her grandchildren. As everyone can attest today, there are many cooks that come out of that family, Tentan legacy, and still going on. Something good that has been passed down. She taught us manners. She said manners and politeness take you through the world. When somebody would ask her, Fina, where your food come from? You always have this and you always have that. She would say, my money come from behind the clouds. And that's from my son, Michael. Campbell on the hill one time was asking her, just fooling around, why you don't marry me? Your husband dead. She say, you, nobody want eat my child food, not Michael money. Yes, she was a good person. She was good. She was good and funny and lovable.
Tentanfina had 6 children in total. Tentan's daughter Felicia had 6 children. Tentan's son Michael had 4 children, 1 deceased, Kim. Tentan daughter Maisie had 6 children. Tentan Eva daughter Alice had 2 sons. Tentan daughter Eunice had 6 children. Tentan Eva passed away in 1991 at age 83, one day before her 84th birthday. And Rosetta Tentan Becca was the last child of Mary Diana Reid. She was the only child to remain in South Valley. There she married Will Mathkana and lived as a highly spiritual guide. She prayed multiple times a day. In her earlier days, she wore the color blue. The symbolic meaning for her was peace, calmness, protection, healing, and truth. Blue is a color that invites us to connect with our higher selves and the divine. Later in her golden age, she wore the color red. The symbolic meaning, energy, strength, courage, security, and the blood of Jesus. Tentan Becca was a spiritual healer, a prophetess, a baker, a cook, and a spiritual advisor to Ronald Webster. Anyone leaving Tentan Becca house would not leave without eating a piece of cake or Johnny cake or some type of food. Eating was a must. Tentan Becca took great pride in sharing whatever she had. Tentan was caring, a cheerful giver. The community looked up to her as a spiritual leader.
Dearest and fondest memories of my grandmother, Rebecca Connor, we call her Nah. God bless and rest her soul, was her pea soup, a unique pea soup. She was a great cook, great chef, and I used to enjoy her pea soup. I've not seen that stuff, that quality since back in those days in the 80s. Nice pea soup, thick and nice, dumplings, yes, sweet potato, pigtail, salt beef, other stuff. I believe that my grandmother, he made the best pea soup in Anguilla back in the day. Also, back in the day, I recall as well as a grinding corn. Another fun memory, corn grinding on the hand mill. Yes, my grandmother used to make a great conky dumpling as well. These are some of my fondest memories of my grandmother in the kitchen, in the outdoor kitchen in South Valley back in the early 70s and 80s.
Tentan Becca had 2 children. Her first, Papacita. Papacita had 14 children. Tentan Becca's second child was Tressie. Tressie has 6 children. Tentan Becca died at age 83. Angeline Reid, Tentan Eva, was the daughter of Nathaniel Reid, aka Budze. Tentan Eva's mother went by the street name of Sawasap. Tentan Eva was born on March 25, 1920 in Island Harbor. She was a twin. Tentan Eva's mother made the decision to migrate to Santo Domingo with her twin girls for a better life. In those days, the boat terminal was in the forest. Upon Sawasap's journey, the twins became too much for her. As a mother, she made the most tough and critical decision of her life. Which one of the twins should she leave on the bay? Sawasap made her decision and she left Tentan Eva and took the other twin on the journey to Santo Domingo. A lady passed and saw the baby on the bay, took her up and took her to South Hill and gave her to a lady named Poke. There, Tentan Eva lived her whole life. In those days, the people will always inform you about who your relatives were. So early on, Tentan Eva knew about her siblings on her father's side. They kept in touch and lived closely. One beautiful day, Tentan Eva recalled a mysterious lady appearing in her kitchen. Tentan Eva, bold and brave, asked the lady, "So who are you supposed to be now?" And the mysterious lady answered and said, "I am your mother." Tentan Eva, taken back by her claim, repeated, "My mother?" Yes, Tentan Eva was so happy to see her mother for the first time. Her emotions changed. They had a full conversation, and after, her mother disappeared. Tentan Eva was so happy for the brief moment she shared with her mother. That moment lasted her a lifetime. Tentan's mother visited her on the time of her transitioning. Even though she was on her dying bed, she remembered the child she left on the bay in Anguilla. Her mother reunited and made it right before her passing. As a result of that, Tentan Eva learned the day she was left on the bay, her mother was pregnant with twin boys and just couldn't manage the twin girls. Tentan Eva was overjoyed with the visit of her mother. She recalled just how the elders described the physical appearance of her mother. She fit the description perfectly. She was a caterer, a baker. She catered mainly for weddings and parties. In those days, the food was prepared on 3 fire rocks in kerosene pans. She baked her cakes in the rock oven. I can smell that now. Tentan Eva had 9 children in total.
Reid. Yes, that was her name. You all know her as Na. Some of you call her Tentan Eva. Some of you call her Tentan Na. Some of you call her Mama. She was just a caregiver. You know, she raised me and she raised many of her grands. And we grew up in a time where family was truly family, where family really loved and held on to each other, and she taught us that. And so she was one who really loved the family and loved being around family. You know, my grandmother was a hard worker, a very hard worker, and so she has instilled many values within us, those of us who she would have raised. And I could recall many mornings being awakened by Eva. Now waking you up when the cock crowed, now waking you up whether it was school or not. Because she believed once she was up, everybody had to be up doing
Mary Diana Reed 3 children. The order in which they born, the same order they died. Paper Herbert, Tentanfina, and Tentan Becca. These 3 lived lovingly and closely until the end of their time. These are our ancestors now. I am grateful to have sojourned with each and every one of you, and I would like to let you know we're all from the Mucka Yard.
bed like you dead now. Say she want touch the road, say she want live like toad, say she want live on me pole. Time to touch the